Welcome back to Slow Damage. Let's continue. As the sun began to set, I started walking in the direction of the cathedral. For some reason, the angel painting kept nagging at me in the back of my mind. Plus, I was curious why anyone would get out of their way to keep coming back to it. The nun said someone would always run in right before they closed, in other words, right around now. I looked up at the park clock. The little hand was pointing to the 4. The cathedral was scheduled to close at 5 p.m. Maybe I could witness it for myself. When I arrived at the church, I was craving a cigarette, so I paused outside to have a smoke. Right as I crushed my cigarette butt on the sidewalk, a silver car pulled up in front of me. The driver opened the door and a man stepped out. I froze. It was Asakura. But he didn't notice me. Instead, he headed straight into the church. I watched him for a moment, then followed. Inside, Asakura was standing in front of the angel painting. As far as I could tell, no one else was around. He craned his neck up at the painting and mumbled to himself under his breath.
哀れな下僕をお救いください。
Oh, you creepy fuck.
雨の見つかいの美しさに言葉を失うばかりです。
Just then, the email poem sprang to mind. As if to signal the end of his prayer, Asakura let out a long breath and gazed up at the painting in silence. As I observed him, a nun came out from the back and quietly approached him. I could hear clinking of something metallic, probably keys.
今日もいらっしゃったんですね。
She spoke softly, but nevertheless he flinched and whirled around.
いつも閉める間際にすみません。
His behavior was nothing like the way he acted around me. Here, he actually sounded humble.
いえ、この絵を気に入ってくださっているのは私たちも嬉しいので。
そうですね。この絵は本当に素晴らしい。私の中で欠けている何かが満たされていくようです。
以前にもそうおっしゃられていましたね。ずっと解決できない悩みがあるって。
なんとかしようと自分でも思ってはいるんですが、なかなか難しくて。
大丈夫ですよ。神様は必ず見ていてくださいますから。
そうですね。
Asakura nodded vaguely, then looked back at the painting. Now I understood the person the nun told me about was in fact Asakura. Since there was no reason for me to stick around, I turned on my heel and left the church. How do you get her number, though? The sun had set, and it was pitch dark outside. As I headed home to the clinic, I thought back over what I'd just witnessed. The comments Asakura made while looking at the painting. They sounded an awful lot like the religious poems I kept receiving. Still, I wasn't completely sure Asakura was the person behind it. Apparently, he was struggling with something. Taku's remark rose to the front of my mind. Specifically, the rumors about Asakura's fondness for children. If he was the one who wrote those poems. As I limped down the street, I felt a fleeting rush of anticipation. Two nights later. It was the night of the Christmas party at Roost. I didn't feel like going. Instead, I was laying on the sofa smoking a cigarette. But then Ray told me they were offering free drinks, so I crushed my cigarette in the ashtray and rose to my feet. Wander around a bit, then head to Roost. Okay. This is Hagato Street in District D. This road passes through every Shinakomi district from A to E. If you travel west down Hogaita, you'll reach District C. Travel north and you'll reach District B. District D is considered the entertainment district. The greater Abaro neighborhood is located here. It's the big district in terms of land. Hagota Street features a wide variety of businesses, from restaurants to recreational facilities to host and hostess nightclubs and more. With the constant traffic, it's the noisiest part of the town all year.
Ah, Towa da.
Hi, Mayu. I didn't expect to find you in the middle of all people.
No.
I'm impressed you spotted me in a crowd. I have good eyes. From here, I can see the stuff on top of that building. That's some powerful eyesight you've got.
So yo.
Also, I'm good at hitting targets. I'm a champ at darts. I take it you're a good shot with a gun, too? Yes, I am. Do you know why? You're gonna say anime. You're totally gonna say anime.
Negative.
Do you do a lot of target practice? What, like shooting guys in real life? What do I say here?
Positive. それは?
Is it a natural born talent you have?
だね.
Well, I had good eyes since I was born. Okay, so it doesn't matter. Anyway. Oh. No, I want to know the other one. He's gonna say anime.
Negative.
Time to reveal the answer. The answer is...
なんだろうね.
It's a secret.
そうか.
Interesting. The reaction. Classic Toa. Anyway, I gotta go now. They called me in to do some work.
そうか.
Alright.
またね.
See you later, Toa. I do like that the color, if you notice, is actually different when you've already picked a selection. This is Kaiao Street, the place that sees the most traffic in District D. While District B has all the most famous casinos and resorts, District C has its fair share of tourist attractions too. The countless neon signs serve as a hallmark of this lively district. Set one foot in an alley, however, and you'll walk headfirst into the most dangerous and violent area in all of Shinkomi. Wow, I can't read this morning. If you want to survive in this part of town, you'll need to keep your wits about you. Taku? Oh, hey, Toa. Fancy bumping into you in the middle of this crowd. I didn't realize you were out and about.
Oh.
Well, one of my older patients was feeling sick and their daughter called me in a panic, so I went over to take a look. Turns out they ate too much at that fancy dinner party. There were no other issues, so it all ended pretty quick.
Hey.
You're working a lot over the holidays, huh? Well, their family was scared half to death, couldn't just sit around. Anyway, the streets sure are clogged, aren't they? But I guess that's normal for this time of year. Oh, that's right. Is there anything you need lately?
Positive.
Booze or smokes.
お前はな。
Buddy, that's the same shit you always get. Isn't there anything more, I don't know, special? Do I want something special for Christmas? Nah, not really. Yeah, I figured you'd say that. Still, can't hurt to ask, right?
Negative.
Why do you want to know? Because it's Christmas? Thought I'd buy you a little something if my finances permit.
確か
Come to think of it, Ray and his friends are throwing that Christmas party tonight, aren't they? Yeah, you going? I probably can't. Too much work piled up. But you should go and have fun without me. Just don't drink too much, alright? I know.
それじゃあな
See ya.
うん
Let's see.
ポジティブにお前いいんじゃないか
Times like this, a little kindness is what matters most.
そうか
That's what we needed. No need to force yourself to think about something.
確か
Come to think, okay, yeah, we did
Uh.
that. Perfect. This is in the Abaro neighborhood alley, branching off from Kawao Street. Unlike the bright and bustling main street, the alleys are dark and shadowy. The rotten sewer smell is inescapable, and you see a lot of animals digging through the trash: rats, crows, stray cats. As for the human population, you'll find shivering homeless kids, drooling tweakers, and black market dealers. The sight of hapless children bawling and bleeding has become a daily occurrence. In winter, you'll find frozen corpses laying around, but nobody cares. There's no trace of glamour here, but make no mistake, this is Shinokumi. Hey, mister? Kid, what are you doing here of all places? My mom said to wait here because, it's Christmas and she's going to buy a cake, so I'm waiting. Alright.
お兄ちゃん
Mister? Sometimes, when my mom comes home from work, she gives me a big hug and cries a lot. What do I do when that happens? Poor kid.
Positive. そうだな
You should just do it back. Give her a big hug? Yeah.
いいんじゃないか
When you have a question like that, you should ask her. Ask my mom?
本当に
Can I ask why? That's what we needed. Yeah, ask her.
ありがとう
Got it, thank you, mister. Oh, that poor kid. You again?
Oh.
Yeah. Did you know they caught the assault party guys? I heard that Takasato Gumi took them to their HQ, but they were already dealt with, so nobody got any answers. That's the Takasato Gumi for you.
Oh.
I heard there's been an increase of people doing drugs on the street. Apparently there's little samples of a new drug going around. Whoever's doing it has been scattering them all over the place, not sure what their goal is.
どうだろう
Rumor has it, Sakaki Hadayoso, the new leader of the Takasato Gumi. Nothing confirmed yet, but it's clear that the gang is taking action. Probably should stay away for now.
Huh.
The trains don't go to Shinkomi. The only transportation methods are water taxis or buses or motorcycles or car. But because it's so cramped, the parking spaces all fill up instantly. It's a big hassle. Come to think of it, I think there's a parking lot at one of the smaller clinics. I wonder why that tiny building gets one. Okay, yeah, he won't talk to us anymore. Nothing here. So that's everywhere. Yeah. The buildings were lit up with strings of Christmas lights and cheerful music played over the loudspeakers. Couples walked shoulder to shoulder, happy families hurried home, holding hands with their little ones. The city was the very picture of joy itself, but I ignored it and walked straight into Roost.
ハッピークリスマス
The fuck are you?
クリスマスおめでとう
Oh, drag queens. The bar was normally pretty quiet, but today everyone was in a loud, festive mood. The place was decorated with crosses, angels, and lifelike Santa dolls illuminated by flashing lights in every color. Except that skull over there. The manager of the bar, staff were all wearing costumes, and the customers were all chatting merrily. Normally, the patrons would stick to their own separate tables, but on Halloween and Christmas, everyone came together for the party. This all started a few years back at the request of some customers. The first party had been a hit, and so they kept throwing them every year since.
あとは来たよかった
So cute. Ray came rushing over to me wearing a reindeer antler headband.
とはクリスマスおめでと
You look nice in the kimono, girl.
うおめでとう
Hey, you're rocking it too.
楽しんでる
Who are you? After Ray came, his friends, Hanami, Junko, and Arata came.
とは仮装してないじゃない
Neither are you.
密かに楽しみにしてたのに
Junko and Hoyomi took one look at my street clothes and pouted.
足を怪我してるしね
At Ray's explanation, the two of them whipped their heads up to look at each other.
そうだったごめんねとは来てくれただけでも嬉しいわ
無理はしないでね
They hastily tried to smooth things over, and Ray rolled his eyes.
どうせ気にしてないわよとはね
うん
それじゃトワをカウンターへ連れて行って座らせるわ
Carry me, girls.
はーい頑張って飾り付けしたから店内もゆっくり見ていってね
楽しんでねとは
The bar was more crowded than usual, which made it hard to walk with a limp. With Ray's help, I made it to the counter and sat down.
トワ君メリークリスマス
The manager called out to me from behind the counter. Like his staff, he was wearing a costume. Normally, he had a laid-back, detached vibe, but somehow he looked right at home in a flashy Santa hat and beard.
足は大丈夫なの
あ
注文は
お任せで
I took my smoke and lighter out from my coat pocket. After I lit, he handed me a drink, whiskey on the rocks. I grabbed it and briefly glanced around the bar. Most of the party guests were regulars, several of whom were wearing costumes so elaborate I had to wonder if they were some kind of performance scheduled later.
やっぱりなんだかんだでみんな騒ぐの好きなのね
As I scanned the room, Ray walked back over to the counter.
ま私もだけどたまには世間の流れに乗っかってみるのも悪くないわよね普段は外れっぱなしなんだし
He loaded his tray with the manager's handcrafted cocktails and walked off again. I set my cigarette against the rim of the ashtray and took another sip of whiskey. Just then I saw something moving out of the corner of my eye. A man in a suit rose to his feet holding a drink. It was Asakura. Once again, he was sitting over at the very end of the counter. Coming to fuck with you. But then he came to sit next to me, perfectly poker-faced. Despite this, he stared down at his hands without once glancing in my direction. As always, his overly formal attire clashed with the vibe of the bar, but then again, everybody else was in costume tonight. Without saying a word, I shot him a sidelong glance and I sipped my drink. Nothing felt better than the sting of alcohol burning my throat. His smoke was swaying slowly, but showed no signs of becoming unstable.
君は
Yes. Unable to withstand my unrelenting gaze, he started to speak. His voice was so hoarse, it threatened to fade into the din of the party if I wasn't paying attention. But then I leaned in to listen and he flinched and pulled away. I love the art. Then, after a moment, he realized what I was doing and straightened up again.
君もこの店に来るということは何かそういう特殊な趣味を持っているのか
He doesn't know. That's so cute. I rolled up my sleeves and thrusted my scar arm at him.
どう思う？
I stared defiantly into his eyes. He had only seen part of my leg during the examination, so this was his first time seeing my scars. His eyes widened as he looked at my arm, then he averted his gaze and let out a sigh and looked back at his drink.
自分を隠さずにさらけ出せばこの店はどんな人間でも受け入れる君はそう言っていたな
ああ。
His fingers tightened around his glass.
私は天使を待ち望んでいるんだ
Angel.
天使。
ああ私だけの天使を
No.
ずっと
We could be your devil. The angel painting flashed through my mind.
子供でも作るとか？
いやそういうことじゃない自分の子供が欲しいという意味ではなくてこれは欲求なんだ私だけの天使が欲しいという欲望だ
He started chugging his drink like he was washing something down, then he let out a heavy breath. Maybe the rumors were right about him being a pedophile. I had figured he probably wasn't, but maybe I was wrong. I plucked my cigarette from the ashtray and took a long drag. Meanwhile, Asakura nervously gripped his empty glass.
この欲求をどう晴らせばいいのかわからない医者という立場でありながら私は
でもあんた囲ってる子供がいるんだろ？
I turned my face away to exhale the smoke. He whipped his head around and looked at me, his expression laced with panic. His smoke withered as its color flashed and dimmed.
いきなり何を言うんだそんなわけないだろ
にしては動揺してるな。
急にそんなことを言われたら
嘘がつけないタイプだろあんた。
I looked straight into his widened eyes and spoke quietly.
わかりやすいよ。
He gritted his teeth and looked back at me.
頼む誰にも言わないでくれ必要なら金を払うだから
金はいらない。もちろん誰にも言わない。
そうか。
代わりに聞きたいことがある。あんたはここで何を待ってる？
ん？
He furrowed his brow in confusion.
店に来てもあんたはいつも一人で座ってる。誰かから声がかかるのを待ってるのか？それともすでに誰かに助けを求めていてその相手を待ってるのか？
He pursed his lips together. But before we could have a mere in-depth conversation, the door burst open. The chatting patrons all went quiet and everyone turned in the direction of the sound. In walked Kataro, like a performer arriving on stage to greet his silent audience.
なあ、くそ！クリスマスなんぞクソったれだ！
Go back to Final Fantasy. Mayu and Iji walked in after him. Though the three of them were Takasato goons, they were regulars here, so they were on a familiar terms with the most of the customers. Once everyone saw who had arrived, they went back to their conversations. Meanwhile, the trio spotted me and came over to the counter.
トワだ。へえ、トワもパーティーとか来るんだね。トワさん、こんばんは。
よう。店長、会計を。
Scared off by the three strangers, Asakura bolted to his feet. Damn it! Then he paid for his drink, grabbed his leather briefcase, and hurried out.
なんだあのサラリーマンは。
あの人が前に話した鷹の口院の先生ですよ。ああ、あの子供好きの
Mayu pulled his lollipop out of his mouth and cackled. So, I know probably at this point this game's gonna piss off a lot of people. It threw me off. But I kind of get what they're doing. They're not making Asakura look good in any way. And he's not. But this is also supposed to be a really fucked up world. So that's why the characters are like this. So anyone who gets really mad. Now, if we do see a kid, I've said this before, but if we do see a kid and it's not going well, yes, the series ends. But I highly doubt the person that requested this would have requested it if that was the point. We learned from sadistic blood.
店長、ジントニック。
We learned from sadistic blood, didn't we, fans? That was a good way of someone getting blocked. And yes, that Let's Play it does not appear anywhere anymore. That has been purged from the earth.
あれ、モスコ。
Moscow Neil, what the fuck is that?
僕はラムコークで。
I've had a rum, no Coke, because I can't have Coke. They all leaned against the counter to order their drinks.
なあ、めんどくせえ。一杯飲んだらすぐ行くぞ。
God, you're bitchy.
はいはい。
荒れてるな。
I donned a teasing smirk as Kataro impatiently tapped on the counter.
なあ、トラブル発生中だからな。
小太郎さんが担当してる店の女が店の売上金を持って逃げちゃったんですよ。しかも子供がいたのに置き去りにして。
Oh, that's totally the mom.
探し回ってるんだけど、どこに隠れてるんだろうね。女は借金があるわけじゃないんで、ウェブタグをつけてないんですよ。だからすぐに居場所がわからないんですよね。ま、今回ので強制的につけることになるでしょうけど。
あのアマ、見つけたらただじゃおかねえぞ。
すぐ見つかりますよ。目撃情報が入ってきてますから。彼女の子供もこっちで把握してますし。隼人くんでしたっけ？
I looked at Aiji.
隼人。
はい。売上金を持ち逃げした女の子供の名前です。トワさん知ってるんですか？
同じ名前のやつは知ってる。
なるほど。そんなに珍しい名前ってわけでもないですしね。
Aiji nodded in understanding. But I was still thinking about Hayato. At the charity event, I had caught a brief glance of a woman who might have been his mother. Was she now on the run from Katoro? Doa grabbed his glass and downed it in a single swallow.
すごい飲みっぷり。やばいね。せめてもうちょっと味わって飲みましょうよ。もったいない。
うるせえ。よし行くぞ。
Doa slammed his glass down on the counter and headed for the door.
店長、次払うのでつけといてください。
With the apologetic bow, Aiji hurried after Mayu and Kataro. I watched them go, then took one last drag of my cigarette and crushed it in the ashtray. After Roost closed, I hopped on the back of Ray's motorcycle and rode to the clinic. As we headed for the entrance, I pulled my phone from my coat pocket. It was an email from Aiji. He was reporting back on his findings regarding whether Asakura visited that child brothel. The conclusions, yes, they were even eyewitnesses. Yeah, we're gonna kill this dude. It sounded like damning evidence. Then we stepped inside the clinic. There we found Taku sitting in an empty waiting room drinking a can of coffee.
おかえり。どうだったパーティーは。
大盛況よ。みんなベロベロに酔っちゃってなかなか帰らないから追い出すのが大変だったわ。
朝倉が来てた。
At this, Taku's expression stiffened.
朝倉先生が一人で飲んでたのか。
ああ、やっぱりあの子供の面倒を見てるみたいだな。
Taku's gonna go save him.
隼人君か。
隼人君ってチャリティーイベントで朝倉先生が連れてた子よね。面倒を見てるっていうのは。
母親がほとんど面倒を見ないらしくてな。朝倉先生のところへよく遊びに行ってるらしい。
そうなんだ。
Ray frowned sadly.
隼人君の面倒を見てるってのは朝倉先生から聞いたのか。
No, he didn't say shit. We guessed everything. We're smart.
ああ、向こうから話しかけてきた。
そうか。他には何か話したのか。
特殊な趣味を持ってるのかって聞かれた。
特殊な趣味？何それ？
うん。
Frowning, Taku murmured in contemplation.
朝倉は昔、あまりにも子供を可愛がりすぎるってことで変な噂が立ったんだよな。
おう。
どう思う？
I fixed Taku with a probing look.
え？変な噂って。
So you guys might see a sudden
So
jump
there's
in
a
the video. I got a really weird error, so let's try to finish this up. Ray shot Taku a worried look. Taku remained silent for a moment, then finally resigned himself to speak.
まだそうだと決めつけるのは早い。朝倉先生は何かものすごく追い詰められてるのかもな。
どうして？
チャリティーイベントの時もそうだったが、こっちに対する態度がかなり辛辣だっただろう。
そうね、確かに。
朝倉先生はルーストへ自ら行くような人間じゃない。なのに店でトアに話しかけて、しかも特殊な趣味だなんだと聞くのは何かあると思わない方がおかしいだろう。
気になるのか？
そりゃ
He's also worried about the
仮
kid.
にも先輩だからな。
子供好きが集まる専門の店ってのがあって、朝倉はその店に出入りしてるらしい。
Instantly, Taku's expression hardened.
もしその話が本当だとしたら時間の問題かもしれんな。今はまだ何も起きていないというだけで、場合によっては
Daddy Taku is
Hayato-kun
good
を
boy.
保護する
Can we
必
get
要
it
がある。
in? Can we get in comment section? Long live Daddy Taku. In a blink, Taku had completely changed his tune about Asakura. Ray looked at him in trepidation. Maybe he could sense the tension simmering just under the surface.
でも朝倉先生は悩んでるんでしょ？困ってるからルーストに来たりトアに話しかけたりしたんじゃないの？だったらまずは朝倉先生と話した方が。
こういうのは理屈や理性で止められるようなもんじゃない。年端もいかない子供に対してそういう感情を抱くのは。
His low
異常者
growl
だ。
echoed through the room. Something was clearly off.
それを言ったらこの町にいる人間はみんな同じ穴の無地なだろ。
You deserve a smack,
お
Toa.
前も。
I spoke matter-of-factly. Flustered Taku pursed his lips.
すまん。少し
Maybe he was
言い
just
過ぎた。
upset about the less than savory news regarding an old acquaintance. His smoke swayed slowly, changing its color to match his emotions.
タクちょっと疲れてる
Ray
んじゃ
looked
な
at
い？
Taku in concern. Apparently, he and I were at the same page. The fuck was that?
いや、
Does anyone
大丈夫。
notice that happens, or am I just going crazy? He downed his drink, tossed the empty can in the trash, and left the waiting room. The fuck is that?
本当に大丈夫かしら？
Ray's voice was a quiet mutter.
どうだ
As
ろ
I
うな。
spoke, I stared down the hall at Taku's retreating back. The next afternoon. Normally, I only travel with the bare minimum in my pockets, but today I was carrying a tote bag as I headed to the park. The pain and swelling in my ankle had receded considerably, so I could walk on it again as long as I didn't put too much weight on it. So we're going to leave it here just because I need to find out what that error was, and I'm kind of paranoid that it's going to happen again, before we get to something good. So thank you guys who are sticking with this series. Like I said, I have set my ultimatum, but this was a request by someone who knew I like things like Sweet Pool, so I don't think we're going to see something like that, but we'll see. So thank you guys once again. If you want to check out my other stuff, if you like horror, check out Cut to the Core, one of my favorites, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.